Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it is time for part 3 of the Monday Q&A. So let's get to it. Does cardio help nutrient partitioning on non-training days for a novice on a bulk? That is an interesting question, and the best answer I've ever heard proposed, I believe it was Lyle McDonald who said so, and what he said did make a great deal of sense. And he pointed out that generally when you're bulking, you're in a high carbohydrate dietary surplus, which is reasonable. That's what an athlete should be doing. And your body spends more of its time, due to the higher circulating insulin levels, burning glucose as a fuel source and less fat. But if you want to keep fat mobilization high, most lower intensity types of cardio, I don't recommend doing a bunch of HIIT when you're bulking because you're shortchanging yourself weight training. But if you want to do lower intensity cardio, just to facilitate burning a bit more fatty acids for fuel, which again may be what you're referring to as nutrient partitioning, then it might be a good idea. It might help you stay just a little leaner, but don't expect miracles here. Don't expect it to keep you from getting to 20% body fat if you're in a high enough calorie surplus to hit 20% body fat. But in terms of just keeping fat mobilization reasonably high, it's not a bad idea. And it might, in theory, help keep you a little leaner, but I wouldn't completely count on it because it's only hypothetical. All right, next question. What strength program do you recommend for a novice focused more on strength and athletic performance? I think something that's proven, like starting strength, is a good start, but I don't like the total workload in it. I would say if you do starting strength, you could easily do something like overhead press on all the days instead of just the second workout. You definitely would want to add some more core work, a lot more core work. In fact, I would probably still train abs 6 days a week on this program. And then I would add in that since you're talking about athletic performance, you might have skill-specific drills that you would need to do for your sport itself on top of it, because you could be playing American football, rugby, baseball, whatever it is you happen to play. A program like this is very good for someone starting out in any of those, but you are going to have to run all your sport-specific drills also on top of it, which you would probably want to do on the off days from the program. But overall, starting strength is a good starting template. I just think it needs a little more volume and core work and things added to it. All right, last question in part 3. Are there any negatives of doing wide stance squats? Due to my really long femur to torso ratio, just this type of squat feels natural to me and let me hit proper depth. Yeah, this can be a problem for people with the really long femurs. A lot of times you have to do that wider stance, but you need to remember that that wider stance is what you're using for powerlifting purposes. So I don't know what your goals are here. The negatives could be if you're doing it as a bodybuilder, you're going to have less quad development doing this. If you have those really long femurs and you're doing that really wide stance, your quads are going to get shortchanged. So you're still going to want to come back through and do Olympic style squatting for your quads if your goals are more bodybuilding oriented, and you'll just have to use lighter weight on it because of your leverages. You're not going to be as strong as with the wide stance. Now the other thing to remember with the really wide stance is that sometimes it can overdevelop your thigh abductors a little bit, which again, if you're going for aesthetics, could be a problem, but if you're an athlete, hey, great. If you're doing it for strength, not a problem. And it can put a little more wear and tear on your hips. So you need to be aware of that. You might need to do some active recovery for hips, extra foam rolling for them, things like that, because that wide stance all the time can put some extra stress on them. All right, guys, so that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you next time. But let me give you guys a bicep shot first. Mount Bicephus.